Hi, welcome. My name is Kelly, and welcome to Cat's Journey with GLP-1 and PCOS, or PCOS and GLP-1. Um, I don't know which I'm going to title it yet, but I'm working it out. I'm trying to figure it out. The reason it's Cat's Journey is my middle name is Kathleen, and I've always liked my middle name. But yeah, this is my journey. I have been and am a wife, a mother, a grandmother, a healthcare person, an educator, and I've always given my life to others, and I liked doing it. I do like doing it, but I need to focus on me. And this is my journey to see if I can get myself healthy again and finally lose some significant weight in order to prevent some of the side effects or the complications of PCOS. I have had PCOS probably forever. Probably forever. I was a competitive swimmer, and I never got cycles on a normal I never got my period on a normal cycle. And, they say that with competitive athletes, that's not uncommon. But other girls around me doing the same things and working out the same way, they knew they could track their cycle. And I never knew when it was coming. Never. And it sometimes would happen in a more embarrassing situation. So, so I've had PCOS forever. They didn't know what it was. They didn't know how to diagnose it at the time. That would have been the 70s and the 80s. But I went off to college. Then I was working out so much and I was thin. I went to college. I did some cheerleading and I was thin then because I was still working out a lot. I had a terrible diet at that time because I was in college. Subsisted off of popcorn and sandwiches and, the things you eat when you're going to college. I didn't live in the dorms, so I guess that was a blessing. I didn't get really a lot of super high carb, fatty meals in the dorms, but I wasn't eating a lot of calories, I'm sure, which is not great for your metabolism. But it kept me thin. So then after my first child, I was able to keep off the weight and everything. And I did get pregnant at 20 with my first child. So I was young. So I think that's what I attributed to being able to get pregnant. But when I went to look at having my second one, that's when a doctor had diagnosed me lightly with PCOS, and she had said that if I would want to get pregnant, I would probably have to go off any type of birth control, which I'd only been on birth control maybe 2 years at max of my whole entire life. So it's not something that I was taking anyway. But yeah, and I got pregnant with her pretty easily. So that's wasn't my issue. And really, when they were focusing on PCOS in the 80s and 90s, they were focusing on infertility. Excuse me. Infertility was the big focus because that was the main reason it became really, I don't want to say popular, but doctors started really seeking out what they could do about PCOS, and it was because of infertility. That's my take on it. I am not a doctor, so I just know what doctors have told me for my life personally, for my journal personally, and so anything I share is my personal take on what the doctors have told me. And we all know that we hear certain words from a doctor and we take them a certain way and we internalize them a certain way. And so this is just my take on it. Maybe it's your take on it as well, if anybody watches this. So this is kind of a journal for myself as well, just so that I can keep track of what I'm losing. and even some on film. See if I can see a difference on film what I'm losing. So go back to the 90s when I had my second child, excuse me. I started out, I was about 139 pounds when I got pregnant, and I ended up in the 180s. Obviously, I was not weighing myself when I was pregnant, and I'm sure the doctors weighed me, and I'm sure I heard them. She's like in her 30s, so I don't remember. But I do remember I never was able to get under 180 pounds again. So I went from a size 7 junior after my first child, size 6, size 8, before I got pregnant with my second one, to a 14. And I just could not get underneath that. And that was really hard. Now, that was pre-vanity sizings, because I think I wear a size 14 today, and I am not 180 pounds. So I think there's a little more give to the jeans and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so there's some vanity sizing going on right now, but that's okay. That's okay. We live with the experiences, and we live with the circumstances of today. And so the circumstances of today is I am a size 14, but I'm not 180 pounds. I can tell you today I am probably 208 pounds. Now, that's not where I started this journey, because I am actually 10 weeks into this journey with Zepbound. Oh, let's see. Zepbound. Yeah, so here's my 5.0. Here's my 2.5. So I've had 2 boxes of the 2.5. And I am on my first box of my 5.0. And I just have 1 shot left of this box of my 5.0. Now, it's not in there. It's in the refrigerator. You need to refrigerate this stuff. And so, yeah, it's not in the box. But yeah, so I have been on this journey, and now I'm just kind of getting into the documentation phase. So I figure how I'm going to do this series, I'm going to start with what I have done to try and lose the weight. Because, we've all done a lot of things. So here we go. So started out in the 90s, had my baby, went and started working part-time so I could be a mother of 2, work part-time. My husband worked full-time. And what was my first diet? Ta-da! Diet and exercise. Normal, healthy eating and exercise. I cook. I love to cook. Cooked at home. It's better for the kids. We were not big TV dinner meals type of thing. No, I cooked real food. But yeah, a little more carby. I mean, there was more pasta. My parents owned Italian restaurants, so there was more pasta. There was more rice. But it was with a vegetable, protein. We got fruits. And we got grains. You remember the food pyramid? Yeah, well, the food pyramid does not look like that anymore. But it started out with, dairy, milk, everything. And it went down, and you had more grains and all that kind of stuff at the bottom, where you had smaller amounts of certain things, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, remember that? So, yes, I followed kind of the food pyramid. What was the science of the day? So, diet and exercise, worked out. We did like a home gym. We put together a home gym, and I would work out, probably 4 or 5 times a week. My husband, big bodybuilder, he loved to do that, weightlifter. So yeah, we worked out at home. I could not get under 180 pounds. Just couldn't. So what did I do? I did it for several years. Keep focusing on it. Keep doing it. If nothing else, I'm really dedicated to what I'm doing. So I'm very dedicated, and I stayed on it for a long time. That was tried and true. That was what they told you during the day. So I did it the best I could. Sometimes I would just get frustrated, and then we'd go have an ice cream. We have a local ice cream place around here that's really delicious, all homemade, and so we would get that. And then I would feel guilty, and then you'd watch what you'd eat, and yeah. Um, I had to get to where I stopped weighing all the time because that was psychologically not doing any good. But I was like, okay, you can tell by what you're wearing. If they're getting tight, you're gaining weight. If it's getting looser, you're losing a little bit. So, common sense diet. That was my first one. Um, I think anybody and everybody can kind of relate to that. We all start out with, all right, I'm going to eat right, I'm going to diet and exercise. I think diet is a bad word in the response of you don't want to do a diet. You want to do a plan that you can live with for the rest of your life. And so even with Zepbound, I'm trying to do things that I can live with the rest of my life. So that's my first diet. Now let's just I'll go into my next diet next time. But now let's talk about Zepbound. I started my Zepbound journey on June 23rd. I started taking the injections. I got to a moment of desperation because I had done a living plan. Really, I'm going to say living plan. A living plan right before going into Zepbound, and I had a modicum of success of losing 40 pounds. Now, I was still over 200. So, yeah, I've lost the same amount of weight several times. Or the same poundage or whatever, getting to the same weight several times, but I still have not been able to break that 180 barrier except for one program that I'll talk about later at another video. So I was able to get down to 206, and I started at 242. Maybe a little more, maybe about close to 245, but we're going with 242 because that was the last time I weighed before I started this other program. And I got down to 206. So that was a pretty good program, right? Yeah. Hard thing is, even if you're on the program, I then started gaining weight. And I wanted to find something that is a lifestyle that I can live with, that I can do and have success at keeping my weight down. So I'm hoping this will be it. Cautiously optimistic is what I say. So we'll see. But yeah, so going back to my Zepbound, June 23rd, I did my first shot. That was after the beginning of June, talking to my doctor, saying, hey, I've done this other thing. I've lost weight. Now it's creeping back up, and I'm really unhappy with how it's creeping back up. So I had creeped up to 221. So I still was down, but I was not going to go back up to 242. I was not. I'm like, no, I have to do something. So I talked to my doctor. He agreed that he's heard really good things with it with people who have PCOS. And I started having other complications from the PCOS and the weight gain. Some minor heart disease, which is heart disease ever minor. But I had scans and everything like that. And it's not bad enough to go on medication. It's not like I have to get a stent or anything like that. But yes, there's a little more stress on my heart, some little blockages, but not enough to do anything about. My cholesterol is a little high. I'd always had high cholesterol to a degree, but my HDLs were always super high. So my ratio was really good. So I didn't have to go on anything because my ratios were really good. Well, now my ratios aren't as good. So I have a cholesterol med that I'm taking. And my blood pressure started really spiking and I could not bring it down. My blood sugars had been high, but with my previous thing I was doing, they had come down and they were really manageable and really in good shape. But I still, my blood pressure was high, my cholesterol was high. So those are all some of the things that are complications also of PCOS. Diabetes, heart disease, uterine cancer, and I'm sure there are more. Hirschism, facial hair. I had that. I had electrolysis. That kind of helped take care of that, where I get a few now, but I never had the full beard growth or anything that some people have, and I feel so bad about it. But electrolysis does a good job. For me, it did. For me, it did a good job. So yeah, so I didn't have to worry about those back then, but now I do. So those things became a concern. I have a mother who had a stroke, a father who had a pacemaker. So these are all kind of things that run in my family. My mother's side, the male side, have had strokes and heart disease. So yeah, all things I have to be aware of and be cautious with. I wasn't also able to do the things that I used to do. So yeah, so again, June 23rd, started on Zepbound. So I'm at 221, not 242, but 221. So I started on that and I took my first shot, 2.5, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, didn't hurt, didn't have any side effects, felt really good. Now all I'm going to have to wait for is the weight to drop, right? And you start looking at videos and they're like, oh, wow, they've dropped like 6 pounds the first week or 10 pounds sometimes. I dropped about a pound. So, okay, I've had diets where I've only lost a pound where everyone around me is losing like 10, 15, whatever, Biggest Loser style. But no, I only lost a pound, but that's okay. A pound is still good. 0.5 to 2 pounds, that's normal, healthy weight loss for a week. So that's okay. So now I know that's how my journey is going to go, about a pound a week. Okay, it's going to take a little longer, but that's okay. Taking a little longer, your body can get used to it. So I hope I don't run into any set points where my body says plateau for a while. So we'll see. So I have taken now, as I said, 11 shots. Let's see. 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I can count. 11 shots. And after my first shot, about a pound, took my second shot. Again, 2.5 has been very good to me. I have not had any really bad side effects on 2.5. So I am in my second week. I weigh. I've got my I'm brain farting right now. I have my Renfro scale. I have a Renfro scale. So I've been doing that, and I've been weighing on the Renfro scale for probably about 3 or 4 years. So I've had that for a while. So I know it's accurate for me, and it's been tracking me. I got a Renfro measurer, so you can measure yourself, and it has a little screen. You can tell that. And I'm not going to go on into that in this time because this is just the beginning of the journey. I don't want to bore you with a super long video, but just know that I am losing. I lost a pound the first week. I lost like 1.5 pounds the second week. So 2.5 pounds in 2 weeks. That is success. That's really good. But the only reason I think I'm even publishing these videos and starting a channel is because so many people lose weight. They're like, oh, I lost this much weight. Oh, I lost this much weight. And you know what? This is for all of us who are turtles, who lose weight slowly. PCOS, you don't want to give up the weight. Your body doesn't want to give up the weight. Your metabolism is slower. I went to Mayo Clinic in the late 90s because I was getting migraines and all the other things that can kind of come from hormonal disorder. And I'm not even going to say PCOS per se. It can be just from hormones, hormone fluctuation. So I was getting migraines, and my husband was concerned about brain tumors. And so I went there, and they confirmed the PCOS from the other doctor. So the diagnosis. And so at that time, they also found out my metabolism was 10% slower. So yeah, I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but this is just all goes in what I did first to try and lose the weight. And that was with healthy eating, diet, and exercise. I lift weights. See, I got some muscles. I got some fat, but I got some muscles. But I like to lift. I'm going to go do leg day today. My lifting looks a whole lot different at 62 than it did in my 20s and 30s, and way different than my teens. Well, but yeah, so I like to lift. I like to exercise. I don't love to diet, but I like to eat correctly. I like to eat right. I like to eat real food. I like to bake myself. I like to make my own sauces, canning, all that kind of stuff. I have some canned stuff. Those are all some of the jams I can. So I try to do less sugar, more natural, no preservatives, all the best that I can do. Organic when we can. Yeah, we live in the Midwest, so we can get a lot of good fruits and vegetables. Growing my own tomatoes right now. Gonna do some marineras this fall. So yeah, I like to eat healthy, but I want to have a normal life. I don't want to have to eat just cottage cheese for the rest of my life. Now, do I not mind cottage cheese in the morning? Yeah, I like cottage cheese in the morning. That could be a breakfast for me almost every day. Cottage cheese and pineapple, delicioso. Cottage cheese and blueberries, frozen blueberries, because then it's kind of like, oh, it's icy. It's oh so delicious. And then I throw in a little Greek yogurt. Yeah, and maybe a little sugar-free Jello in there, like a raspberry Jello, and mix it all together. And a little whipped topping, Cool Whip. Yummy, yummy. And it's not super high in fat. Some fat is good for us. Some carbs are good for us. Some meat are good for us. I know there are people who do the carnivore diet, and it really works for them, and they really swear by it, but I like a balance, and that works for me, my taste buds. It's not for everybody. So we'll see how this journey goes. It's kind of paring down how much I eat and smaller portions, and finding the right size portions as well. I don't ever order a meal hardly anymore when I go out. I take a section of my husband's. Maybe I'll get a side salad. Because, and I did that before Zepbound, let me tell you. So we're going to see how this journey works. Anybody who's gone through this long, thank you for listening. I hope that it's inspiring and gives you some insight, but keeping your expectations in the correct place. Not too high, not thinking, I'm going to go in this and I'm going to lose 10 pounds my first week, da-da-da. You may not. But you know what? That doesn't mean it's not a success. That doesn't mean that it's failed. And it's failed. Not you have failed. It's failed. Let's see. Here's my journey. We'll see what happens. Thanks for listening. See you in a week. And then I'll give you some more results and another diet. Yeah, some people can relate. Thank you for listening. Bye.